Hey, it's Steve Lindsley. Welcome back to my shop. In this video, I'm going to attempt to turn a natural edge bowl. I've never done one before, so we're not quite sure how that's going to work out. And one of the main reasons I've never done one is because I never get a log that the bark actually stays on. So normally it falls off, and natural lead bowl isn't really a nice natural lead bowl unless it's got the bark on it. So as I said in one of my other videos, my friend Bob gave me a couple of oak logs. I saved a piece. Here's my blank. It's about 8 inches in diameter. The bark is really stuck on to this piece, so it should stay on there while we're trying to turn this bowl. It's like the rest of it. It's extremely wet. Oak probably won't make the best natural lead bowl because I think it's a cadmium layer or something, the one right below the bark, is rather thick on an oak tree, so I'm not quite sure if that's going to be attractive or not, but we'll find out. But the main reason I'm doing it is because I want to try one, and I've never done one before, so we want to give it a try and see if we can get the process down. So if I ever come up with a cherry log sometime that has a bark that's actually staying on it, I can go ahead and turn another natural lead bowl. So I think that this one will come out good, so let's go ahead and get it on the lathe and get started. All right, well, here's the blank I want to use for the natural edge bowl. What I did when I was roughing these out, I went ahead and drilled that hole and put it on the bandsaw so I could turn it round. In hindsight, that probably wasn't what I should have done because I wanted to put this thing between centers, and that's not going to work out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a mortise in this top piece here and expand my jaws into it so that we can turn off this bottom part. I need to take off about that much, which is quite a bit actually. So I need to go right about in here somewhere to get rid of that hole. Otherwise, if I turn the bowl too deep, there's going to be a hole in the bottom of it, so that's not going to work out real well. So to get going with this thing, I am going to put the screw chuck on this side, and then we'll mount it in the lathe like this, and then I'll put a hole or a mortise on this side so I can put the chuck in it, and we'll turn around and then turn this side off. So I know that sounds kind of confusing, but let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and put the screw chuck on this side and get it on the lathe and check the balance. So we'll kind of go from there. As I'm turning off this piece where the tailstock is connected, I get my gouge a little bit too low and it grabs right there. And so that was a little bit of a surprise, but it turned out all right. Well, I'm just using a square end scraper that I've actually ground on the side, so it's on the left side, and the end of the scraper forms a 90-degree angle. So I use this mostly for cleaning out boxes and whatnot, but this works in handy here. Comes in handy here for cleaning up this mortise. All right, I've reversed it, and I have the blank mounted in the mortise with the chuck in expansion mode. Well, let's see how much of this we have to take off. So we're going to have to, the bottom of the hole is somewhere up in about here someplace. So let's bring up the tailstock. Make sure everything's nice and tight. Get a tool rest here. Alright, let's put our face shield on and stand back here a minute. Alright, well I'm just going to use the bowl gouge and we're going to remove this bottom part. I'm going to leave the center part with the tailstock in it up until the last minute so that we can get up to the bottom of that hole. So let's go ahead and waste that away. Alright, well that little bit can stay on the stay on there because we're going to put a tenon on this anyway, so it's going to be, the tenon will be thicker than that little bit of a hole there. So so that, I hated to waste away that wood, but it's about the only way we, I'm sure there were other ways to skin that cap, but that's the way I did it. So now we're going to go ahead, I'll bring the tailstock back up and we'll start shaping the outside of this bowl, and then we'll flip it around and kind of go from there, put a tenon on the bottom of it so we can turn it and put it in the chuck. Well, I found after I reversed the blank in the lathe that it was a little out of balance and it made the lathe jump around a little bit. So I got it on its slowest speed, so I can't turn it down anymore. So I found if I just put my foot on the bottom of the lathe stand there, that it keeps it from jumping around, and the more I turned it, the more it became in balance. So became into balance. So it worked out all right. Well, now that I got the tenon to the size I wanted, it's time to go ahead and just finish up, turn the outside of this bowl. Turning wet wood, sure, it makes a mess in a lot of ways, but it sure is a lot of fun when the chips come flying off and long streamers. They go all over the shop, which makes it a pain to clean up, but it sure is fun turning it when it's wet, turning wet wood. Alright, well I have the bowl reversed and mounted in the chuck, and for the last few minutes I've just been starting to hollow out the inside. This side sticks out way further than the rest of the bowl, so you got to be very careful where we set the tool rest so it doesn't hit it. And this is about as thin as I'm going to take it for now. It's as wet as all the other blanks I got out of this log, and it's going to have to go into a bag to dry. So hopefully the bark will stay on while it's in there. So I'm just going to turn it all about this thick, hollow out the inside a little bit, and then put it in a bag and let her dry. So let's keep going with the hollow in here. I'm sorry about the light there. I moved it around so it would show better, and then I succeeded in getting the front of it, so that didn't work out real well. So it does improve once I get further down the bowl. Well, I have a kind of an odd hand position on the bowl gouge. The tool rest is set right at the lip of the bowl, and there's not a lot of room on the other side of the tool rest to put your hand or whatever, and I didn't want to get my knuckles bashed, so I improvised here with my grip. Turned out all right, though. All right, I think I'm going to call it good with that bowl there. So I don't think I'll cut anything more on it. I don't want to take the chance of making the bottom too thin. So we're going to call that one good for now. All right, well here's my natural edge bowl. Came out pretty good. It's hopefully the bark will stay on when it's in the bag drying. I don't know if it will or not, but hopefully it will. It still needs to be turned some more, but it's just too wet to try and finish and put any finish on it. Even turning it thin and sanding it, I don't think that would do it. I mean, look at the bed of the lathe. I mean, it's all, it was clean and when I started, now it's all rusty, so I'm going to have to do some lathe maintenance now that I'm finished up turning this. So I was going to go ahead and put this into a bag, weigh it, put it into a bag, stick it on the shelf with all the others, and let it dry and get it out in a few months and see how it's doing. So I'd like to thank you for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe.